What's up guys, welcome back to Doki Doki Drawing. The reason you're here is because you'd like to know how to draw this. Or more specifically, how can you go about creating a character that is as impactful as this. Now, this is the series known as Styleman A, and it is not intended as a tutorial. In fact, it is kind of the opposite. It's an exploration mimicking the styles of famous mangaka and anime artists so that we can learn to try something interesting and new with our own characters. So this is our character, Styleman A, but borrowing from the facial expression of a character that has been on TV lately. It is a very popular anime. It is called Spy Family. And if you're new to this series, the whole point of this series is to mimic these styles and hopefully learn something new. Try some new things that we can add to our own characters and, really expand our repertoire of options. It's just so striking, this particular facial style. Something that you've definitely seen in anime and manga is where you've got a character, they've got their standard face where they've got their anime style eye. I'm going to draw this really, really quickly, but they've got their standard anime style eye. I say anime style, of course there's no such thing as an anime style, but just bear with me. They've just got their normal style of eye that they go through the entire series with, but then one day something funny happens and then their face changes to the same facial shape, but then the actual nose itself will become very suddenly grotesquely real. And of course, it's not the fact that it's real that it's grotesque. It looks grotesque because we're just not used to seeing the character with that style of eye or that style of face. Their hairstyle, for example, it might be the same all the time, but it's only the face, which is very suddenly, bizarrely three-dimensional and has all of the details that you're not used to seeing. So, what is it about these eyes which make them so effective? The main character who does this face, her name is Anya, and the first 5 episodes, I don't think you see her actually doing a face like this. It's not until episode 6. So spoiler alert, this is where it happens. But it's not until episode 6 that you very suddenly go from the normal style of face to the, I believe it's known as the heh face. I mean, that's what I had to search on Google in order to find it. I think there are a number of things that help us get from this stage to this stage. Now, the first one is the fact that often with anime characters or any character that you're drawing, you decide right at the start what the proportions are going to be. If this is the top of the head and this is the base of the head, then somewhere here along the middle, if you've got an adult character, you'll have the eyes right here along the middle. But if you've got a younger character, like for example, the character of Anya here in the Spy Family series, you might expect to have the eyes, instead of being right here on the center, like an adult, you might have them a little bit lower than the center. So the eyes actually start at the center line, but then go down closer here. And so they end up quite naturally closer to the nose. If you were to draw narrow, smaller eyes like this, they would probably be somewhere along this new center line that you've chosen for the eyes, right? You have a small set of eyes along here. But what's really funny about these eyes is that they don't. Let's say that we want to draw Styleman A with these funny eyes, right? Well, let's choose what the character looks like normally. In the normal version of heh face, we're going to have the eyes, let's say, right here on the middle line, halfway between the top of the head and the chin. Just draw a really fast eye, nothing too complicated. The middle of them is right along where I've decided the position of the eyes are going to be. But what's really great about the heh eyes, actually let me finish drawing these very simple irises here. The closed eye position would be down here, because the eyelids come from the top and close down to the bottom. But generally speaking with anime, to make it look a little bit more natural, I think they usually animate it so that the eye position when closed is a little bit higher up. as if the lower eyelid actually comes up and closes. But you can debate about whether that is the correct thing to do or not. The heh eyes, instead of being here along the center line or here right where the eyes would be when they're closed, they're right down here on the lower limit. So they're more or less flat or even bending up in a sort of upside down U shape. But this is where I think it gets particularly interesting. When the eyes are closed, you have to imagine like an eye. Where is the eyeball in all this? If this is actually what the eyeball looks like inside the character's head, then this is the visible portion here. I'll just draw this in blue, but this blue circle here, this is like the visible portion of the eye. So when you're looking at an eyeball through the heh eyes, it's even more unnatural feeling and therefore even more effective. That when you draw the pupils in where they appear to be, it looks like from the angle that they're drawn, they're not like an eyeball which is, here. It's not like there is an eyeball angled down at this angle. It doesn't appear to be drawn like that. It appears that the entire eyeball has actually just shifted down and is now in this position here. So obviously it's completely impossible, but then let's face it, most anime eyes are completely impossible if you think about them. It looks more like the entire eyeball has shifted down, and this is the new center position. They're looking straight out through the front of the eyeball, but for whatever reason, physically speaking, the eyeball itself has shifted down, and I think that is the second element what makes this eye so effective. So one, it's the fact that it's a completely different shape to the eye that it was before. This is the normal shape, and this is the heh shape right here. That is step one to creating a striking, completely different, everybody remembers it, and it turns into a meme eye. But then the second element of what is really interesting about this is that just physically, it makes you feel like you actually physically feel, I don't want to say ill, but it makes you physically lurch a little bit. You're kind of like, wait a minute, there's something not quite right here. When you're imagining the eyeball itself, you've got like the top eyelid coming over the top of it like this, and the bottom eyelid with the bottom like this. And if they're looking straight out through the front of their eye, you might see the iris somewhere around here, and the pupil somewhere around there, right? When they draw the heh eyes, which are right here at the base, the lower limit of where the eye appears, instead of now drawing the eye at this angle, like so, if you actually did it like this, you would only see like the very lowest part of the ball, and it would be a completely different shape because you'd be looking at the top of the slightly less concealed part of the iris. We're not looking at an eye that looks like this, with a, clearly the base of some sort of eyeball which has barely made it into shot. What we're looking at is quite clearly an eyeball that has shifted position. Obviously thought about it a little bit too far. Probably the original mangaka or the animators never really even thought about this. It's just, okay, this is what the funny eye looks like. It's at the low position, and then we just draw them as normal with the pupils here. But personally, I feel like this is what makes it feel so effective. You're looking at it a little bit more closely. I've definitely over-exaggerated the position of these eyes. They're probably a little bit higher up, not completely at the lower limit. So I'll just choose the actual closed position of the eyes where normally if the character blinks, they raise the lower eyelid to come up a little bit. Yeah, that looks slightly less bizarre. Now to finish it off, what I think I'm going to do is get a fresh sheet of paper and let's just draw Styleman A properly, but with these hilarious eyes. Alright, well, I'm not going to pretend that I think this is perfect. It is quite literally the first time I have even attempted to draw this, but the whole point of this series is just to check out popular anime, popular manga that are out right now, and just see what I can learn from them so I can put them into my own style, try new things out, and kind of explore what makes animation and manga so interesting and so funny. And definitely this face, it's so unbelievably simple, and yet it is so effective. Now, I have never spoken to the original mangaka or anime artists who were involved in this, so I have no idea what their actual intentions are, but basically all I've talked to you today is just my general thoughts of about what I think might be making this face so particularly interesting and funny. The main overarching idea is that definitely in anime and manga, they've got such unrealistic eyes and such hilariously stylized facial features that when you go for a realistic looking face, it can be such a shocking moment to see your favorite character jump into a completely different reality that it's surreal, it's shocking, it's hilarious, it's funny, and it definitely works to great effect. And I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, that they wait until like the 6th episode of Spy Family before they ever even really pull out this face. It was really funny. But even if you don't go for this particular shape of eye and this particular shape of mouth, definitely consider having a scene in your manga where everyone just explodes into a completely different style. Maybe everyone becomes a Picasso painting, maybe everyone becomes that famous The Scream face. You never know what it is that's going to really take off and people are going to latch on and go, wow, that was a hilarious moment. That is all I wanted to experiment with today. I hope you guys are enjoying watching a little bit of Spy Family. It is a hilarious show and extremely well balanced in terms of the different fans I think that it satisfies. It's like there's really something for everyone in this show. And it's not even finished yet, so I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of the anime, and who knows, after the anime's finished, I may start from episode 1 and check out the manga as well. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to Doki Doki Drawing, check out some of our other videos, and we'll see you next time.